Throughout the open days of Playtime Co., the company lived by one word, a word that would represent their entire philosophy and identity. This word is innovation. It's described as introducing new methods and ideas. In other words, pushing things forward. Continuous, healthy change. It's the idea of adapting into something new. So this perfectly represents the goals of a toy manufacturing company. They always need to adapt with the times by continuing to create new and innovative toys. But Playtime Co.'s idea of innovation was a little more unethical. And the man responsible for these decisions was none other than Leith Pierre, the head of innovation at Playtime Co. With this position came power, and this power seemed to reveal the truly cruel personality of this character.
Hi, my name is Leith Pierre, and I'm the head of innovation here at Playtime Co. All right, all right. Let's be honest. You're not supposed to be here. When someone finds you down here, you will be shot. If I were you, I'd start running.
The exact date for when Leith started working at Playtime Co. has yet to be revealed. His entire past life remains a mystery. But at some point he did start at the company and slowly worked his way up the corporate ladder. Eventually, Leith would be given the position of head of innovation at Playtime Co. This meant Leith was now a so-called higher up, and he would have full clearance to everything inside the walls of the factory. But holding this position was no simple task. It was Leith's job to answer the question of what will toys look like in the 21st century. So he would need to consistently come up with ideas and designs for new toys. He would do this with the help of his innovation team, always pushing them to get results. However, sometimes he would push them a little too far. You see, Leith was a proud man and took pride in his position. This would ultimately go to his head as he would mistreat his staff, speaking rudely of the employees and frequently threatening to fire them. For example, he had an assistant named Sharon. He would call her an idiot for not turning off the microphone at the end of a recording, and would even threaten to fire her for standing outside his office. In general, he wasn't the nicest person to be around with this position of power. Perhaps the weight of his job was a bit too much for him to handle. But Leith also viewed the employees in general as expendable and a waste of money. So it was clear that he didn't care about the people below him, which is a subtle hint at just how far he would be willing to take innovation. Around 1990, the founder of Playtime Co., Elliot Ludwig, ended up passing away. It's currently unknown as to how or why, but perhaps Elliot's age caught up to him. So with Elliot gone, it was now up to Leith Pierre to run Playtime Co. He would not only be head of innovation, but head of the company. With even more of this newfound power, Leith decided to carry on Elliot's work and traditions. What are these traditions? Well, Elliot wanted to create toys that would be the reason for a child's smile. So Leith was determined to carry on said tradition. Although, there was something else that Leith wanted to carry on from Elliot's work. You see, Elliot's daughter had unfortunately passed away at a young age, and this left Elliot alone. Filled with grief, Elliot knew there had to be a way to get his daughter back. So he would start conducting experiments on small animals to transfer their consciousness into the toys Playtime Co. were making. After perfecting the formula with a poppy flower, Elliot successfully transferred his daughter's consciousness into a poppy doll. A monumental feat for mankind. Not only could this seemingly bring someone back from the dead, but it could potentially be the answer to immortality. That being said, the higher-ups were fully aware of these experiments. So this was another tradition Leith Pierre wanted to carry on after Elliot's death. But it's not that simple. Like I mentioned before, as head of innovation, it's your job to come up with new ideas and push the boundaries of what can be. With this in mind, Leith Pierre decided to take innovation to places it had never been before, to push the boundaries of science. He decided to continue Elliot's experiments. Surely this was exactly what Elliot would have wanted, right? In order to continue Elliot's work, Leith knew he would need help, but not from any old scientists. He knew he needed someone that could grasp the reality of what they were doing, someone that didn't care about how unethical they were being. So Leith Pierre decided to hire back Dr. Harley Sawyer, a scientist that was removed from Elliot's Young Geniuses program for being too unethical with his work. So Harley was the perfect fit for what Leith had in mind. With Harley back working for Playtime Co, they could truly push innovation to places it had never been before. This would be called the Special Projects. Harley and a team of scientists would continue Elliot's work by experimenting on humans to transfer their consciousness into Playtime Co toys. But what human would willingly give their life for said experiments? How about children that had no idea it was happening? Elliot had built an orphanage underneath the factory called Playcare. As of right now, it's unknown if this was built to truly house orphans and give them a safe place to grow up, or if it was built to give Playtime Co free pickings of lives to choose from. Regardless, the second option was what it was used for with Leith Pierre in charge. They would take the lives of innocent children from Playcare and use them for the experiments. Unethical was an understatement. What Leith, Harley, the higher-ups, and the rest of the scientists were doing would send you to the deepest parts of hell. However, it seemed they were already there. The experiments would continue, and one day, Harley Sawyer would create the first successful bigger toy. No longer did the experiments need to be inside of small little dolls or figures. These new experiments would take the bodies of large life-size toys. Harley Sawyer would present this to Leith as the Bigger Bodies Initiative. This initiative would save the company money. They wouldn't need to hire employees when the toys could work for free. With Leith Pierre's approval, this initiative would go on to create hundreds and hundreds of bigger bodies. These successful ones would be put to work, while the other ones would be thrown inside a prison cell to sit and rot for the rest of their lives.
The following is a pre-recorded announcement to address the many complaints regarding an alleged very, very big spider crawling around in the facility. The Playtime Corporation wants me to remind you all that spiders that big do not exist, and that if they did, quote, we would already be dead anyways.
Now, naturally, because of how many there were, keeping this Bigger Bodies initiative a secret would be challenging. Laura and staff would report strange sightings, and some of the experiments would even escape. In 1991, Leith interviewed an employee named Marcus Brickley, who claimed to have witnessed a 50-foot-long creature with 1,000 legs. One night, when Marcus was going home, he forgot his wallet in the cafeteria. Upon returning to get it, Marcus noticed a mop handle lodged under the Innovation Wing gate. He attempted to grab it and move it so the gate could close properly, but the mop ended up moving on its own. He then took a peek under the gate and witnessed PJ Pugapillar crawling around. Of course, Leith would gaslight Marcus into making him think he saw something else. After all, they make toys, not monsters. At least, that's what Leith Pierre told Marcus.
You're out of line, Marcus. We make toys, not monsters. Now come on, get out of my sight.
Another employee named Rowenstahl made a series of recordings trying to expose Playtime Co for the bigger bodies. He claimed to see Huggy Wuggy's eyes move, but later backtracked this statement. He knew the power Leith Pierre had, as Rowan feared losing his life over these claims, and rightfully so. The company didn't want their secrets getting out, so Leith Pierre would sabotage Rowan's car, causing a tire to fly off on the interstate, nearly killing him. Leith tried to get rid of Rowenstahl while making it look like an accident, but eventually he decided to take matters into his own hands. Leith presumably lured Rowenstahl into the theater area to meet the so-called monsters he had been talking about. This monster was Boxy Boo, and he ate Rowenstahl, meaning Leith Pierre would go as far as to kill his own employees if they found out about the Bigger Bodies initiative. But this cruelty of Leith Pierre and the power he possessed does not stop there. To further prove that Leith was killing anyone that would sabotage or find out about the Bigger Bodies initiative, during an incident aftermath tape, he expresses how to take out these kinds of people, basically admitting to killing them. First, Stella feels bad for all those people. when Leith explains they did what was necessary, meaning they killed anyone that saw the bigger bodies during the incident, or they let the experiment eat them. Either way, they got rid of anyone that was involved. As for who caused this incident, Leith can be heard saying he would wrap his hands around their neck and give it a nice squeeze until they stopped squirming around, even calling this person a soon-to-be dead man. This was Leith basically confirming that he would kill anyone that sabotages the Bigger Bodies initiative. But it just so happened that in this specific incident, that soon-to-be dead man was Dr. Harley Sawyer, the very man that created the Bigger Bodies initiative.
Some disorientation is to be expected.
Who gave you the order? You spineless cowards. After all I've done for this project, for this company.
I gave the order, Sawyer.
Leith Pierre. Of course it'd be you.
You see, Harley was starting to cause some serious incidents that were jeopardizing the secrecy of the Bigger Bodies initiative. So the higher-ups concluded that Harley needed to go. But they couldn't just kill him, he was too valuable. So Leith had something else in mind. They would subject Harley to his own experiments. The scientists uploaded his consciousness into Playtime Co's database, orders given directly from Leith Pierre. A true statement of power and cruelty. Not even the very scientist that created the Bigger Bodies initiative was safe from Leith Pierre. Instead of feeding him to Boxy Boo, he would now live inside Playtime Co forever. He was forced to give the other scientists answers whenever they needed and carry out procedures when and how he was told to do so. That's it. He would be an open book to these scientists whenever they needed it. This proves that not even the higher-ups were safe around Leith Pierre. If you did anything to jeopardize the Bigger Bodies initiative, you would be dealt with. Furthermore, the staff were not the only ones subject to Leith's cruel power trip. The experiments would also see Leith Pierre's true colors. He would more or less treat them like monsters, completely disregarding their past human existence. To Leith, they were just objects, not people. In Catnap's checkup tape, Leith doesn't even remember Catnap's real name of Theodore, and emphasizes that nobody will save him. The prison is where he belonged.
Okay, this is Catnap, experiment number 1188. What's his real name again? Ah, okay. Hey, Theo. How you doing, bud? Theo, nobody's gonna save you. This prison is where you belong. We'll let you out here and there to go see the kids in play care, but your home is here. And as for the prototype, his home is in the labs. This is your life now. Get used to it.
This is one of the many examples of how Leith did not care for the experiments. Like I said, they were not people to him. He only cared about the progress of innovation. Now, it's almost suggested that Leith Pierre might have found enjoyment out of these cruel and sinister acts. From the top secret tape, Leith Pierre, in a joking tone, tells whoever is lost down in the labs to head on inside and ask for help, then laughs it off. Without hesitation, he then tells the viewer that if they are seen down there, they will be shot. No questions asked. He even makes a smart remark suggesting that the person should start running.
You must be very, very lost. Well, rest assured, friend, our state-of-the-art laboratory is just up ahead. Why don't you just go on inside and tap one of our scientists on the shoulder? Tell them you're lost. They'll be glad to help. All right. Let's be honest. You're not supposed to be here. When someone finds you down here, you will be shot. If I were you, I'd start running.
This tape is supposed to serve as a warning, but Leith takes it as a joke because he knows whoever is watching it is already dead. From this alone, I think it's safe to assume that Leith Pierre found enjoyment out of putting others in a state of distress. Maybe after years of taking people out that knew about Playtime Co secrets, his mind became twisted. He had unlimited power within the company. and could quite literally erase anyone from existence without any repercussions. Eventually, treating the experiments poorly would catch up to Leith and the staff as the Hour of Joy took place. The experiments would get revenge on all of the people that wronged them, except for Leith Pierre. He was one of the very few people that survived. It's currently unknown as to how he did this or where he went. However, after the massacre was over, he sent a team of resource extraction specialists into the factory to retrieve anything they could find. And of course, they were met with the still alive bigger body experiments that would roam the empty factory, keeping Playtime Co's secrets locked away forever. So, as of right now, this is where Leith Pierre's story comes to an end. With great power comes great responsibility. In Leith Pierre's case, he was responsible for continuing Elliot's work and making sure no one jeopardized this. But because of this responsibility, he had newfound power, and this power would ultimately go to his head, which revealed his true sinister colors. He would mistreat everyone, even the experiments, and this ultimately costed him everything. With that being said, Leith's story was only a small part to the overall cause of Playtime Co's downfall. After all, he was just doing what he thought Elliot Ludwig would have wanted. So, was Leith Pierre the true monster of Playtime Co? Well, I'll let you decide. That was Leith Pierre's full story up to Chapter 4. I'm really curious if he's going to be a big part of Chapter 5, considering how important innovation was to the company. Since he's still alive, I hope they bring him back into the picture. But at this point, who knows what Mob Entertainment will do. So let me know your thoughts about Leith Pierre in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. Also, I have a Discord server, so if you want to chat with me, I recommend joining. And if you want to support the channel more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.